Welcome to another segment of Lockdown with Johnny Potenza. I'm your host today, and how's everybody doing? What's going on? Hope everybody's staying safe and just doing what they have to do. As we all know, they're opening up the gates for the beaches and some establishments and businesses. We still have to take it slow, people. It's not over yet. It's getting better, but it's not over. And there's still organizations and charities that are still looking for help. Three that are close to my heart that I've been promoting are the Robin Hood Foundation, where you can get them at robinhood.org. You have feedingamerica.org, and then you have artistrelief.org. One of these three are great, or all three of them, whatever you want to donate, even if it's $5. Every little bit helps. But today, my special guest up tonight, he's a New York City actor, and he's a friend. We have Gino Cafarelli here today. I have actually some of his work right here on a roll-in, so I'm going to show it to you people. And then we're going to call him in and get him out of the waiting room bathroom. So check it out.
I'll be right with you, buddy. You got to see the shape of this fucking guy that just walked in. I could do smaller control blasts where some of the walls are still standing at the end, or I can go much bigger, like make it shake in Long Island bigger. That little meltdown you had, it went viral. Everybody wants a piece of you, honey. Everybody wants you. Everybody. You know, I've been wanting to take a leak for like the last hour. Is it okay if I use your bathroom? No.
We got a girl in here.
You know what? Maybe she's got a friend. We can make a night of it. Paper time's over, pajama boy. Enough of the clown routine. Unbelievable. The one guy we find, and he's nuts. Anything he says is not gonna hold up in court. Sully, we're pulling everybody off.
Right now?
Yeah, that means now. Drop that log, you motherfucker.
Please, you lunatic. Take me if you must.
Bye.
There he is, Gino. What's up, buddy?
Johnny P, Johnny Potenza. How you doing, buddy?
In the flesh. How you doing? You feeling okay these days?
Yeah, I mean, you know, you got your good days and your bad days.
I know,
during this quarantine, the pandemic.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I ask everybody who I get on the Zoom before we start talking, what are you doing to keep yourself sane these days?
Well, I mean, every now and then I'm going to have a couple glasses of wine, but I have my daughter, which is great. I mean, the challenging part about homeschooling, but I have her a couple of days and a couple of nights a week. She's been keeping me company, which is a blessing.
How old is she?
She's going to be 7 at the end of the month.
That's a good age.
I've been doing a lot of writing. You know, like I've been doing a lot of writing, just polishing off 2 screenplays that I'm working on, and really excited, more excited even more than the screenplays. I just submitted my first children's book manuscript to a publisher that's publishing a children's book that was inspired by my kids. So I love it. I love that, because anything I try to do from the heart. Yeah. As long as it comes from the heart, you know, any of the things, it comes from the heart, it all works out. So I'm really excited about that project.
Is this a self-published or you got a publishing deal?
No, I got a publisher. It's like almost kind of like, a one-shop stop publisher that assists you in like picking out the illustrators, but they're not going to help you write the manuscript. I mean, I didn't know how to write a children's book. I just kind of learned. And that kept me busy in quarantine. And then I binged, like, you never saw Breaking Bad. I'm like, no, fantastic. But that was the early part of quarantine. Doing a lot of cooking, learn how to cook, adapting.
Oh, yeah? Who taught you how to cook?
Well, my mom, of course, she's an amazing cook. Everybody's cooking in quarantine, but I started like adapting. Like the film and TV business shut down, so I kind of had to adapt, and that's the key word now, adapt. So,
listen, it's always good to know how to cook. I mean, especially if you like you're entertaining, or if a woman's over you, you cook a nice dinner. You know, people like.
Yeah, I mean, I love to cook, but I've been cooking a lot more now than before because of quarantine. But again, everybody has their good nights or good days and bad nights and bad days. Everybody's been up and down. You know, it's scary. It really has been scary.
I'm just bored out of my mind because I like company and I like entertaining and I like having people coming over jamming with the music. And
yeah, because you play an instrument, right? You were in a band originally.
Yeah, I'm a drummer since I'm 12 years old and I still play. And I'm actually been practicing my ass off the last year and a half and got my chops back, and I'm trying to take it to the next level now, just for my own head.
The only thing I'm having an issue with is the Yankee hat. No, I'm kidding. I like the Yankees, but I was going to wear my Met hat. I'm a diehard Met fan.
What happened? Is in the garbage, the Met hat?
Oh,
no, I'm a New York fan. I'm not a diehard anybody. The only one I'm diehard for is Kiss, the rock band. No, but
is that your number one band?
Yeah, I love Kiss. My father took me to see Kiss when I was 10 years old at Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
when they were in their hype. But yeah, I got hooked on Kiss. I mean, I love everybody, but that's my band, and that's another conversation.
What's your favorite Kiss song?
It's hard to say.
Oh, right.
There's a zillion of them.
I like I Was Made for Loving You. I love that song.
That's a great song. I mean, that's more one of the mellowest song, but that's a great song. I mean, like Strutter and Back in the New York Groove and
oh, come on, New York Groove with fantastic,
See, I know Ace Frehley and I know Peter Criss. I had the pleasure of opening up for them while they were solo before they got back with Kiss. So that was like a highlight for me back in '93 and '94 in the music business. Seems like yesterday. Yeah,
but talk about kind of like Gene Simmons having that vision of, rock band, marketing, merchandising. Like he knew back then that that's where he wanted to take that.
There's nobody that could touch Gene Simmons.
No way. Smart guy. And a lot of people say, like, back, when I say back then, whether it be 10, 20, 30 years ago, they're like, you got to focus on one thing. It's like, now, if you, do everything, you shoot, you edit, you act, you're considered a Renaissance man or a Renaissance woman now. Like, now, and thinking about the marketing, like, I'm wearing a hat from a film I did. Not because, but, it's important to package yourself. Like, back then, they're like, no, you have to focus on one thing. There's no rules now. Yeah, well, funny story, you're wearing the hat over there. When I did a song for the Yankees, that's the inside joke. When I did a song for the Yankees with my boys, Joey Bowles and Carmenuch, a.k.a. Junior.
Oh, great guy.
Yeah, fantastic. One of my best friends. We're going to be working on a few things down the line. But the inside joke is we were Met fans.
Uh-huh.
And when we did the Yankee song, I said, you know what? We got to trademark the phrase, how you doing? And people are like, how are you going to trademark the phrase, how you doing? I did it.
So that's what it was. Right? Yeah.
Started selling shirts at St. Gennaro. Started doing all that on shirts. The CD came out. Like, it became like this whole marketing. But the inside joke was we were Met fans. But we did a song that won the Yankees the World Series because we were their mascots.
We got half time left, so let's get into some of these films.
Sure.
Film Capone. It's on demand right now. Why don't you give everybody out there a little education and talk about the film that's out?
Capone, written and directed by Josh Trank. Originally, it was called Fonzo for Alfonso Capone. It was supposed to be a theatrical release, but because of the pandemic and quarantine, they released it on VOD, which, knock on wood, is doing extremely well. It's the #1 download on iTunes, and it hit like a record for the distributors, being the highest generated revenue in the last 10 days. So it's doing real well. So it's kind of like, yeah, the theatrical release would have been beautiful, but VOD, I love going to the movies, but a lot of movies do very well too on VOD. So we're, when I say we're very happy, cast and crew extremely happy about it. Tom Hardy, Linda Cardellini, Catherine Narducci, who is one of my best friends.
Yeah, she's a dog.
Jack Lowden, Noel Fisher, Matt Dillon. It's got a nice cast in it.
Matt Dillon too. I'm a Matt Dillon fan. I
love Matt Dillon. I was his PA on a movie called Mr. Wonderful 30 years ago. And when I told him, he was like,
you know what movie that introduced me to him? And I was a kid. It was called My Bodyguard. You remember that?
Of course.
That was great.
Of course. I mean, I wanted to talk about the Flamingo Kid when I met him because I was like, that movie was like, so it's got a great cast, and it's not for everyone. The film's not for everyone. If the audience is expecting an Al Capone from like the Untouchables, they're not going to see that. This is the last year of a guy who was let out of Alcatraz and had the mental capability of like an 11-year-old. So it's the last year of his life. He was suffering from neurosyphilis since he was 15, and he had dementia. So you're not going to see like, a Capone of like the Capone thing you're going to see. So it's very different from the point of view.
A lot different. It took me a little time to adapt to it, but then I got into it. That's a part I never even knew about him,
Yeah. See, well, that's a lot of people didn't know that. So again, a lot of people are going to either love it or hate it, but art, I don't want to be cliche, is subjective. It could be either thrown in the fire or it could be embraced. So it's really how you kind of look at it. I loved it because it was one of those. It was a genre, thinking it was a gangster film told from a different point of view. So I love the film just for that.
All right, cool. Let's go next. Bad Education.
Bad Education, currently on HBO.
It is on HBO now. I got to watch it this weekend.
Yeah, it's based on a true story. It's with Hugh Jackman. I have two fun scenes in it. Like I'm in a news reporting scene where they interview me at the end of the film. And then I have a shouting match with Hugh Jackman. I yell at him I play a dad from Long Island. It's based on a true story that happened in Roslyn. But that came because Ellen Lewis casted me in The Irishman, and she called me back to audition for Bad Education.
Yeah.
So that's the beauty of, like, you know, like someone like Ellen Lewis, a casting director. She was loyal to call me back for reading for another film. So that's how that happened. So, you know, it kind of happened almost, I don't want to say by accident, but Bad Education and Capone being simultaneously within weeks being released is kind of like just how it happened.
No, definitely. And a funny story, your friends of my friends fast, Ellen Lewis sent me same thing to go on that audition. And when I went in to sign in, Lou Martini and John Bianco were there. So I'm like, holy shit, what are these guys doing? And I know them years before. I didn't know them. I just had them on my show, became friends. But it felt cool just saying, I got these guys and now I'm auditioning. It's just weird. It was a weird feeling. But Ellen Lewis she's the best. I mean,
I love that she you know, she called me in for a few roles for The Irishman, but I had to read well, not that I had to, but I'm all about doing the work. Yeah, it's all about getting the work done. So
that's everything, bro.
There's no shortcuts. You got to put the work in. So I read the book. I heard you paint houses. I put together a monologue that I wrote based on a character from the book. Put the monologue on tape. I sent it to my agent. He sent it to Ellen Lewis. She said, "Let me ask Marty to look at the tape." He looks at the tape. She goes, "I like him. Call him in." I go in for Ellen Lewis. I audition. She auditions me for 3 roles. I wait a couple of months. She calls me back. She says, "I'm going to cast you as the mayor of Philadelphia, Frank Rizzo, but you're not going to be possibly not going to have any lines. But you're going to be working like 5 days." It winds up being I'm working 2 weeks.
That's
and
great.
I'm on the days with Pacino and De Niro.
So you
I would have did that for free.
You brought home some scratch.
I would have did it for free. So photo op with De Niro, and being introduced as the mayor of Philly with no lines. But she called me in for Bad Education like a year later. So she knew what type of actor I was, because people don't really realize. They're watching The Irishman like, "Oh, you're in there for a second," but all the work that had to be put into it before that is no joke.
Talk about, before we close, the movie Cruise.
Cruise. All right. So you know what? I want to set the record straight. So it was based on a short story that I shot and directed called Franny Lou. And in the beginning of that opening of Franny Lou, it's on YouTube. I use it as a pitch presentation / short story. I open up as an older version of when I was younger, saying, "I'm Johnny Potenza." Okay. And I didn't know you back then. I didn't even know you. The reason I use Potenza is because my parents are from a city in Italy called Potenza. And I just picked Johnny out. So when I found out your name was Johnny Potenza, like years later, I'm like, holy shit, what a coincidence. But Cruise was inspired by a short story that I shot in Whitestone, Queens, loosely based on me growing up in Queens. And Rob Siegel picked it up and made it a film. I was going to pitch it originally as a series. So he picked it up, which I love, because I love being a pioneer with certain things. So it kind of opened up, because I started seeing like people getting back into the old school music, getting back into the cruising. So I love that I was the pioneer with a film like Cruise, but it was based on a short story. And I like being the pioneer. And then everyone else, it's kind of like flattering that culture is still alive and well right now.
Well, listen, I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah, Gino, anytime, buddy. Listen, where can people find you on social media, your website?
Instagram, basically. At Gino Cafarelli on Instagram is the best way. I use that for work. Facebook, I use for like personal reasons with my daughter, and my cousins, my aunts and uncles in Italy and Canada could see my kid. But the best way is like IG, Instagram, at Gino Cafarelli.
Well, listen, once we go back into the studio and we do Up Late with Johnny Potenza, you're going to be on top of my list, and I want to bring you into the studio. We're going to have a longer talk and have a good time. All right, G?
1,000%. Stay safe, Johnny. Thank you so much.
Listen, even when I'm not safe, I'm safe, Gino. Listen, God bless, brother.
Take care, Johnny.
Well, there you have it. Well, it's about that time that we have to say goodbye, and just be safe out there and just take it slow. I'm Johnny Potenza. Have a good night.